Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Tibet County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers and listeners advisory video cast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 133. This is the Friday, February 24th, 2023 edition of Library Connections. Kicking things off with the top 5 fiction bestsellers for the week from the New York Times. At number 1, It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. In the sequel to It Ends With Us, Lily deals with her jealous ex-husband as she reconnects with her first boyfriend. At number 2, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. At number 3, Heartbones, also by Colleen Hoover. After an unexpected death prevents her from going to Penn State and forces her to move in with her absent father, Bayan Grimm has a summer fling with the rich guy next door. At number 4, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. A scientist and single mother living in California in the 1960s becomes a star on a TV cooking show. And at number 5, Verity by Colleen Hoover. Loan Ashley is hired by the husband of an injured writer to complete her popular series, and she uncovers a horrifying truth. And I must say, Colleen Hoover is having a very good year, and it's only February. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, Spare by Prince Harry. The Duke of Sussex details his struggles with the royal family, loss of his mother, service in the British Army, and marriage to Meghan Markle. At number 2, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. How trauma affects the body and mind, and innovative treatments for recovery. At number 3, Unscripted by James B. Stewart and Rachel Abrams. Two New York Times journalists portray power struggles within Paramount Global, the multi-billion-dollar entertainment empire controlled by the Redstone family. At number 4, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. The actress and filmmaker describes her eating disorders and difficult relationship with her mother. And at number 5, Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. The Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist examines aspects of caste systems across civilizations and reveals a rigid hierarchy in America today. Our first recommended read for this week is the new Deborah Crombie mystery, A Killing of Innocence. Bestseller Crombie's skillfully plotted 19th police procedural, featuring the husband and wife team of Detective Superintendent Duncan Kincaid and Detective Inspector Gemma James of Scotland Yard, perfectly balances the investigative action with the characters' true-to-life problems. The duo and their colleagues are called to Russell Square, where Sasha Johnson, a trainee doctor at Thomas Coram Hospital, lies dead, stabbed in the chest. The victim's assailant acted swiftly and efficiently, fading away into the crowd before even she realized she'd been mortally stabbed. Why would anyone want to murder the respected and much-loved doctor? The stakes rise after the nurse in charge of Sasha's ward at the hospital, is fatally stabbed in Soho Square. Once again, there are no witnesses. What's the connection between the two murders? Crombie provides plausible suspects and motives amid entertaining interplay, including some friction among the members of the squad. This entry can be read as a standalone, but it will give special pleasure to fans who have grown fond of the couple over the years. And that's the Publisher's Weekly Review. And on a reader's note, as mentioned, this is the 19th book in the series. If you'd like to jump in and start binge reading from the beginning, check out Book 1, A Share in Death. Moving on to our second recommended read for this week. This one's historical fiction. It's called The Memory Keeper of Kiev by Aaron Littlekin. In the 1930s, Stalin's activists marched through the Soviet Union, espousing the greatness of collective farming. It was the first step in creating a man-made famine that in Ukraine stole almost 4 million lives. Inspired by the history the world forgot, and the Russian government denies, Aaron Littlekin reimagines their story. In 1929, Kaya is 16 years old, surrounded by family, and in love with the boy next door. When Stalin's activists arrive in her village, it's just a few. A little pressure to join the collective. But soon, neighbors disappear, and those who speak out are never seen again. And every new day is uncertain. Resistance has a price, and as desperate hunger grips the countryside, survival seems more a dream than a possibility. But even in the darkest times, love beckons. 70 years later, a young widow discovers her grandmother's journal, one that will reveal the long-buried secrets of her family's haunted past. Moving on to our first audiobook recommendation for this weekend. This one is most definitely a cozy. It's called Murder Out of Character by Olivia Matthews. The audio is read by Janina Edwards. After a successful fundraiser for the Peach Coast, Georgia Library, a Matthews sugary sequel to 2021's Murder by Page One, Marvie Harris, the library's Director of Community Engagement, comes across a list with 4 names on it. One person on the list has recently died. One is found dead shortly after the party. Has Marvie found a hit list? Marvie takes it to the police, who dismiss her concerns. But Marvie's friend and secret crush, newspaper publisher and scion of the richest family in town, Spencer Holt, is on the list. And Marvie won't rest until the killer is caught and she knows he's safe. Never mind the underdeveloped characters and the saccharine sentiments. A de rigueur budding romance, an intrepid heroine who rushes headlong into danger to keep her friend safe, and a happily ever after ending makes this the prose equivalent of a Hallmark family movie. Lovers of small-town cozies can while away a pleasant afternoon with this one, or a pleasant trip to and fro someplace, as I'm recommending an audiobook. So if you're looking for a sweet cozy, check this one out. Our second audiobook recommendation for this week is the novel The Stolen Book of Evelyn Aubrey by Serena Burdick. The audio is read by Karen Cass. Burdick explores love, loss, and treachery in her luminous, multi-generational tale. 17 years after the death of Abby Phillips's mother during the 1989 San Francisco earthquake, Abby discovers a book of poetry by her paternal great-great-grandmother, Evelyn Aubrey, in her maternal grandmother's underwear drawer. The book also contains a photo of her father, whom she's never known, and the photo inspires her to search for him. In a parallel narrative, set in the 1890s, it seems newlywed Evelyn's husband William, a famous novelist, is passionately in love with her, until he starts stealing her work and selling it under his own name. Evelyn feels increasingly powerless and frustrated, and she hatches an ingenious plan to make a new life for herself and get revenge on William. Burdick skillfully alternates between Evelyn's and Abby's points of view, illustrating the limitations placed on women around the turn of the 20th century, and the deep desire to know about one's own heritage. The author charms with lyrical prose and a well-sketched cast of supporting characters. Readers will be hooked. And that's the Publisher's Weekly Review. Want more reading, listening, and viewing recommendations? Check out the Tech and Book Talk blog, which offers weekly and monthly recommendations and is found at sscltech.com. And also check out the back catalog of Library Connections videos found on the Southeast Bend County Library's YouTube page. Moving on to our next section, next week at the library, we'll take a brief look at the events and activities hosted by the library for the week ahead of us. This time out, that's the week of February 27th through March 3rd. This information can also be found online. Just visit the library's website, located at ssclibrary.org, and click on the big bold calendar link you'll see located near the top of the page. And on a registration note, registration is required for programs unless otherwise specified, or unless the program is of the online on-demand variety, in which case, please just help yourself. You can register for programs through the library's website through the Calendar of Events section by calling the library at area code 607-936-3713, or by just plain dropping by. On Monday, February 27th, there are no library programs. Happy reading. And just an alert, the Children's Department is closed until March 12th, when the newly remodeled children's section, the Mary Lou Walker Children's Room, will open. And just a reminder, our digital library collections, featuring thousands of eBooks and digital audiobooks available through Libby and Hoopla, are always open. Visit the library's website to learn more. Simply go to ssclibrary.org and click on that catalogs link. And then you can click on either Hoopla or the digital catalog links, which the digital catalog, that's the web version of Libby, to see what titles are available. And of course, there are apps for both Hoopla and Libby as well. If you have questions about how to use digital resources, eBooks, audiobooks, etc., ask the staff. We're happy to help. On Tuesday, February 28th, our first program of the day is Coffee, Tea, and English Vocabulary. This is one of the programs in our series for adult learners of English. It runs from 9:15 to 10:15 a.m. It's a hybrid program being held both at the library in person and via Zoom. Then from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m., we have Coffee, Tea, and English Conversation, also a hybrid program. And moving on to the early afternoon programs, from 1 to 3 p.m., we've got the SSCL Scrabble Club, which meets weekly at the library. Moving on to our late afternoon and evening programs on Tuesday the 28th, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., we've got GATLIS, which stands for Gay at the Library After School. GATLIS offers a safe and supportive space for youth to talk about gender, sexuality, and what's going on in their lives. The program is open to anyone ages 11 through 18, which is grades 6 through 12, and held every Tuesday. GATLIS is a partnership program co-hosted by the library and Planned Parenthood of Greater New York. The program contact is Carmen Greco of Planned Parenthood of Greater New York, who hosts the program. Another contact is our head honcho of Young Adult Services at the library, Kayla Crane. Then from 4 to 5 p.m., we have the LSC Author Talk with award-winning author Sadiqa Johnson. You're invited to join an invigorating conversation with highly acclaimed author Sadiqa Johnson as she talks about her brand new novel, The House of Eve. This is an online program, and you can get the link to access the program by going to the library's website, clicking on the calendar link, and then looking for Tuesday the 28th. And the very last program of the day says 4 p.m. LSC Author Talk with, you can't see the whole title. Click on that title, and you'll get the page with the link on it. Moving on to programs on Wednesday, March 1st. Our first program of the day is Mei Zhang, which is from 1 to 3 p.m. Then from 3 to 4:30 p.m., it's Atlas, which stands for At the Library After School. The Atlas program provides a relaxing environment for kids to wind down after school, work on homework, play games, use library resources, and participate in guided makerspace projects. Registration is not required, just show up. Then from 6 to 8 p.m., it's the weekly Corning Adult Writers Group, which is a hybrid program held both at the library and via Zoom. On Thursday, March 2nd, we've got 2 programs of note. The first is a drop-in program. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., we've got a program for homeschoolers. It's the Kids Explore Homeschool Group Ice Skating. The location is the Civic Center Plaza Ice Rink. And during this time, homeschoolers can skate for a discounted admission of only $2. Bring your own skates or rent a pair for only $1. This program is in partnership with the City of Corning Parks and Recreation Department. Then from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., it's the Coffee, Tea, and English Book Club. This program is hybrid, being held both at the library in person and via Zoom. On Friday, March 3rd, our first item of note is the debut of the monthly book club review with Michelle Wells. This is accessible online. On the first Friday of each month, Adult Services Librarian and published author Michelle Wells will post a new review of a book she has read. See what a writer is reading. You can find the reviews on Michelle's blog, which is found at storymusing.blogspot.com. At 1 o'clock is the debut of the latest episode of Library Connections. As we know, it's a weekly readers and listeners advisory videocast. And then from 4 to 6:30 p.m., it's the Teen Dungeons & Dragons, led by Dungeon Master Robin. This gathering is suitable for ages 13 through 17, and all levels of experience will be welcomed in this safe space. Come to one or all gatherings. And I should note that our new Dungeon Master actually is a member of the staff, so that is cool. And here are our library programs contacts. And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections. Have a great week.